Dotto justified his
headed to the ring for his light heavyweight preliminary bout, and by the time Ross climbed out, they knew. He's the boxer with the lethal right, a shot he used 3 times on Roland Reform of Seychelles, stopping Reform in round 3 for the Olympic Games' first knockout victory. And this to advance to the round of 16 today against Paul Mbungo of Cameroon. In a few moments, Ross will try to unleash the left-right combination again, this time to earn a spot in the quarterfinals of the Olympic boxing tournament. Russ, I think the point is that Troy Ross put the rest of the boxers in his class on notice with that lethal right that he used against Roland Reform.
He certainly did, and he's going to have to do it again. And today, the key in that fight, what he did, though, if you noticed, he boxed first. That was his primary thing. He backpedaled, he boxed, he waited. Reform came. He threw the left hand, even just landed it on the shoulder and turned over that right hook. And by the 3rd time, that was it. Reform wasn't going to get up. And I see the same thing happening with Mbungo. He's going to come. He's a big, strong guy. The only time you'll see him backpedaling is if he's got the lead, but he'll come, and Troy will box, and he'll protect that punching perimeter. And anytime Mbungo gets in that punching range, watch that left hand come out, and he's going to finish with the right hook.
So anybody phoning the Russ Amber psychic hotline would hear exactly that.
That is correct, sir, and he's going to work that jab too. You watch and see. Set him up, wait, make him come, left hand, right hook.
Left hand followed by the right. That's what worked in his preliminary round victory. We'll see if it does work again against Paul Mbungo of Cameroon. Ron, back to you.
Scott, got it. Thanks very much. Okay, 5 after. So there's the starting point, the personal best for Oak and Amber, getting from the stand-up position indoors to the Alexander Memorial Coliseum's 21 seconds. There's 10. They've got 10 seconds to beat their personal best. What do we got going? How much time do they have, Terry? You say we've got about 30? Okay, so the personal best was 21 seconds. We're beyond that, but nonetheless, we're tracking how much time it'll take them to get indoors. We started over here. They've really only got, in total, about 40 seconds. Got to get there by the time we reach here, which would be 45. This light heavyweight action, of course, is the one in which Cassius Clay in 1960 captured the gold medal. Troy Amos-Ross, absolutely brilliant in his last bout. Let's see if they made it. We're going now live up to the Georgia Tech campus with 3, 2, 1. Scott, are you in there?
Ron, I am in here, and I can only tell you this. If Russ Amber had stopped smoking, didn't stop for his cigarette, he would have made it here almost as fast as I did. But we're here, no land speed records broken. Well, you know, the Canadian wave of mini success at boxing, frankly, has crashed after a couple of losses. And now we'll find out if Troy Ross can get it rolling again and get himself into the light heavyweight quarterfinals of this boxing tournament. There's the matchup, Troy Ross of Canada. He'll be in the red against Paul Mbungo of Cameroon. And will the left-right combination be as effective in his second bout, as effective as it was in his first? It worked to perfection there as he stopped Roland Reform of Seychelles. And Reform, we should remind you, was the number 4 ranked fighter in the world, still is in fact, but it was the second time in 3 months that Ross beat Reform. His confidence should be peaking at just the right time, Coach Amber.
You know, Scott, I have to disagree with you on that their confidence crashed. I think the performance by Phil Boudreau was an inspiration to the Canadian team to show that no matter how grim things look early in the fight, you can always come back to win.
We just got a shot of the Ross clan. He's got 8 family members here, and he says they're all boxing experts. He has to phone every one of them before he fights. His father Charles boxed for Guyana in the '68 Olympics. Troy trains under Dwight Frazier at the Jamestown Club in Brampton, and Dwight Frazier, you can see, working Troy's corner today as he adjusts his headgear. I want to correct you. I didn't say that the Canadians' confidence had taken a beating, but their success has been arrested momentarily.
I stand corrected then, sir. Again.
There's the opponent, Paul Mbungo of Cameroon. He decisioned Peter Adlembo of Kenya to get to this bout. Adlembo, world rank number 13, but Ross's opponent in the prelims was world number 4. And Ross KO'd him, so little doubt as to who the favorite in this round of 16 bout is, Russ.
Mbungo is definitely going to have to be considered the underdog, but he's very, very awkward and a very strong, big upper body. We know that Troy is the smallest guy in terms of stature in these Olympics in the light heavyweight class. He's got no height advantage, no reach advantage. The advantage he carries, though, is he's probably the most deadliest puncher in there.
It's a light heavyweight round of 16 bout. 81 kilograms, 178 pounds. Troy Ross of Brampton, Ontario in the red. Paul Mbungo of Cameroon in the blue. And we are underway. It was all about patience for Ross in his preliminary victory. And we'll see if he exhibits the same patience now.
And you know Mbungo's going to be patient because he saw what Troy Ross did to Reform.
And again, when Ross KO'd Reform, that was, to that point, the first knockout victory of this Olympic Games tournament. There have been a couple since, but that was the first, and everybody in here buzzing.
Credit to Reform for having gotten up the first 2 times, but to ask him to get up a 3rd time off that shot was near impossible. There's a straight left hand from Troy Ross.
If we were wondering about his patience, I think we've seen about 40 seconds into the fight that he is not going to come out throwing them.
No, he's not. There's the hook after the left hand again, but you see Mbungo's been watching the tapes. He's watched the previous fight of Troy Ross. Look how high he's carrying those hands. He's willing to give up the body shots. His whole body is open. He's willing to give those up to protect the chin against the lethal punching power of Troy Amos-Ross.
Light heavyweights showing a great deal of respect for each other.
Troy just has to continue being patient. Do this. Let the guy back you up. Let him come into range. If he wants to win this fight, he's going to have to come to you. There's the referee telling them to mix it up a little bit. And I think, at least Troy's let his hands go somewhat. Mbungo hasn't let anything go. And if Mbungo throws that jab again and keeps dropping it the way he's doing, you watch Troy Ross time that and come over with the right hook.
Ross has benefited from a lot of time spent with his cousin, Egerton Marcus, who won silver at the Seoul Olympics and is now a pro.
There's the body shot. He'll drop it in there. It's too bad they're not crediting the body blows. There's the right hook that comes around again. Troy's just going to have to be careful and not get frustrated, because when he does throw, he doesn't want to just be hitting arms and gloves. That'll just sap his power. There's the left hook, the right hook that bounces off top of Mbungo's headgear.
But we've less than a minute to go now in round number 1. We're still waiting for the first scoring shot. Both fighters showing good defense, hands held high.
Good respect from each. There's the right hook, comes around again after the left hand, and that comes up.
And that's the first scoring blow of this fight.
See, right now this has paid off. Right now the patience of Troy Ross has paid off. From here on in, if he maintains this lead, Mbungo has to come, and that will be falling into the battle plan of Troy Amos-Ross. So plan A executed to perfection. Mbungo very respectful. He's careful of that power.
Well, the crowd doesn't understand the patience that Troy Ross and his opponent, Paul Mbungo of Cameroon, are showing. But round 1 now comes to an end with Troy Ross holding a 1-point lead. Well, it doesn't matter what the crowd thinks. Troy Ross is fighting his fight, Russ.
And that's exactly what he has to do. Let him fight his fight. Keep boxing the way he's boxing. It's plain and evident to see that Mbungo is the tentative one in there. He's the one who's not willing to take the chances. There's Troy applying the pressure. There's the right hook. That lands beautifully and gets a scoring blow.
And if Mbungo had been in the arena and watched Troy Ross finish off Roland Reform of Seychelles a couple of days ago, then you can understand why he is not willing to wade in.
Well, I'll tell you, if I was working Mbungo's corner, he'd be doing exactly what he's doing in there. Keep his hands up, try to get Troy Ross off the battle plan, make him come to you. Mbungo's doing the right thing to try to win this fight. He's not here to fight for this crowd and all these people that are booing him. Unless they're ready to step up those 3 steps with Troy Amos-Ross, they better just sit on their hands and not say anything.
Set now for the second round of this light heavyweight bout. It's 81 kilograms, 178 pounds. Troy Ross of Brampton, Ontario in the red. Paul Mbungo of Cameroon in the blue, and Ross leading 1-0. One scoring blow landed in the first round. The winner of this one advances against either Jirov of Kazakhstan or Areno of Italy, and they go next here at the Alexander Memorial Coliseum. Those, by the way, are 2 highly ranked international fighters.
Now you see the way Troy is just pawing out there with the right hand. He's judging the punch perimeter, and that's what he wanted to land. You saw it there, the left hand right hook again that came across.
The left followed by the right that worked so well for him in his preliminary victory, and it just brings up the first scoring blow of the second round. So Ross now leading 2-0. But Russ, you have to admire his patience.
You have to admire Mbungo's patience as well. He's got that, we spoke about it earlier in his first bout, Mbungo's turtle defense. Watch him just, his head and his neck disappear into his shoulders, and it's hard to get a good blow right on the chin where Troy would love to land that right hook.
But we're seeing a a mature and poised Troy Ross now. We didn't necessarily see this sort of performance from him in the Nationals in Brampton. I recall one of his wins there was a rather sloppy one. He came out and almost punched himself out by the third round, and afterwards his whole family had him surrounded in the locker room, and they were all counseling him, telling him, Troy, it's all about patience. You have to show patience. He seems to have learned the lesson.
Well, the trick about being a power puncher is to not let your opponent know when you're going to throw the power. And at the Nationals and in national competition, he would come out and show his battle plan right away. Now he's conservative, waiting. He knows that from anywhere in the ring he can land that power, so why not be patient and let these guys come to him?
3-point lead now for Ross. The third point came up a few moments ago on the left.
There's the right hook that comes around again. You see Mbungo, how tentative he is. That punch came and he disappeared. You know, he really reacted quickly to that shot to get away from it. He wasn't even thinking about the shot he was throwing. He was thinking of, I got to get out of here. And the advantage as well, not only in boxing skills, goes to Troy Ross, who's holding a 4-point lead now, but the speed as well. Even when Mbungo throws with him, he's got the extra advantage in speed, and that hands get to the target quicker. There's a good 1-2 shot right down the middle. Good boxing from Troy Ross, good defense. That's the key to winning, shut down the defense.
He has given up a scoring shot, but still leads by 3. Ross is studying creative fashion at George Brown College and boxing creatively today. I don't know if that works, but I thought it was a nice segue.
It was lovely. Good right hook, a little downstairs, let Mbungo feel it in the gut a bit. Nice, smart boxing, everything being done while he's backpedaling. A good second round for Troy Amos-Ross.
And after 2 rounds, Ross nicely in the lead of this light heavyweight bout against Paul Mbungo of Cameroon. Ross getting instructions now in his corner from Dwight Frazier. As you can see, Donovan Bailey, the 100-meter champion, the showpiece event of the Games, is in our studios at the International Broadcast Center, and we'll hear from Donovan. He's with Ron McLean. As I say, we'll hear from him as soon as this bout is complete.
And Donovan was an inspiration to all the Canadian athletes, winning that gold medal as the world's fastest human being. Congratulations to Donovan.
Ross leading by 4. There's the opponent, Paul Mbungo of Cameroon. He'll have to try and put something together now to come back in the 3rd round. But the way Ross is boxing defensively, that's going to be very tough.
The thing that's important here is Mbungo has been totally inactive in the first 2 rounds. All he has done has been very defensive. You know he's got something left in the reserve tank, so Troy's just going to have to be careful, and he himself must not get too defensive. He's got to keep Mbungo honest and get his respect and nail him with a good shot to hold him off.
So round 3 just underway, less than 3 minutes now, separating Troy Ross from a spot in the quarterfinals of the light heavyweight division, leading by 4. That's Troy Ross of Brampton in the red, Paul Mbungo of Cameroon in the blue. Earlier, Phil Boudreau lost to Zaharov of Russia. That was a very close decision. I'm sure Troy was inspired by that, despite the fact that Phil lost. That dropped Canada's record to 5-8 and left 3 Canadian boxers in the tournament, one of them in the ring now. The 2 others, David Defiaban and Mike Strange. Strange, the great veteran, goes in the quarterfinal against a Bulgarian, Tonchev, on Tuesday.
You know, just earlier to this, on the first circle around the ring, Troy landed a right hand and rocked Mbungo back. He took 2 steps back and nothing came up for Troy Ross.
We've seen Ross so far in the boxing tournament. It's all about, in many cases, where the punch is thrown and what corner of the ring.
That's right, and there was a perfect example. Troy's near the red corner. Mbungo threw a shot. You couldn't even see if it landed, and up it came. And there's a good left hand from Troy Ross, and Mbungo fires the right hand back. That's just going to get Troy mad. Troy doesn't mind to get into the punch out with Mbungo.
3-point lead for Troy Ross now, 6-3 the count. More than halfway through the 3rd round, and Mbungo doing all he can to try and close the gap.
Troy has stopped using the jab. There's a good hook in the right hand, and the left hand comes over the top. Troy has stopped using the jab. He stopped measuring that punch perimeter. He's got to get back to using that jab. Mbungo's coming forward with a little more authority now, a little more confidence.
Less than a minute to go.
There's
Mbungo has suddenly become the aggressor.
Well, the aggressor in terms of who's coming forward, but he's been coming forward all night, but it's Troy who's letting the hands go.
Cautioning Mbungo's corner to remain quiet.
See, Troy's starting to throw that right hook all by itself now. Get that left hand going, Troy, and then follow it up with the right hook. It's hard to get a right hook around the man's left hand. You want to set him up with the right hook so you got some power to come over with that right hook.
Less than 30 seconds to go now in round number 3. Ross still holding on to a 3-point lead. He's boxed smartly here, Russ.
Very smart. He threw another left hand that landed clean and it didn't come up. There's the hook again, off the top of the head. Boxing smart, he's into the final 10. I'd say
Yes,
it's
sir.
safe to say.
This
You
is
say it, go on.
almost under wraps. Only 5 seconds to go, and now we can say that Troy Ross is on to the quarterfinals with a nice victory over Mbungo of Cameroon. Workman-like effort from Troy Ross. He didn't floor this opponent the way he did his previous one, Roland Reform of Seychelles. Sent to the canvas in round 3 and could not get up. We saw none of that in this bout, but Troy Ross was clearly the superior boxer and a deserving winner.
Absolutely, and probably could have deserved to win it by a few more points. He landed a lot of shots in this third round that he didn't get credit for. And as far as not dropping Mbungo, you know, you can only do that when you got a fighter who's involved in a fight with you. And for the first 2 rounds, Mbungo was not in this fight.
Troy Ross is delighted with himself, and well, he should be. He's got 2 victories here at the Olympic Games. And now we'll get confirmation of the decision. And there it is, Troy Ross on to the quarterfinals in the light heavyweight division. Ron, back to you.
Scott, thanks very much, and congratulations to Troy Amos-Ross, whose next bout will be on Wednesday. There's the magic expression last night. World record. Gold medal to go along with the World Championship performance last year in Gothenburg. Same smile, if I'm not mistaken. It was an absolutely magical night. Donovan Bailey out of the blocks into the wire in 9.84 seconds. That picture printed around the world. What a magical moment for Canada and for all fans of sprinting. Donovan, thanks again. I know you're in a cyclone of interviews and the whole bit.